My story. My name is Marina. I have a younger sister, Nastia, who is 7 years younger than me. We grew up in a small town near the capital. As soon as I left home to study at a university in the capital, I never lived with my parents again, not a single minute. Of course, I visited them, but I never stayed for long just as a guest. I married a fellow student, and we started earning a living on our own at an early age. No one helped us. We ran our own business from morning till night, without weekends, never traveling abroad, not even once. At best, we would spend summer weekends by a lake or a river outside the city. That was our only break. We have 3 children. For years, we rented an apartment, which put a huge strain on our family budget. So, we saved up for our own place and never allowed ourselves luxuries like vacations abroad. We had to sacrifice a lot. By the time we turned 40, we finally bought our long-awaited apartment. No one helped us, despite both my husband and I asking our parents for assistance. They promised but never actually helped. Meanwhile, my sister lived with our parents her entire life. Even when she worked in the capital, she spent 2 hours commuting to work and 2 hours back instead of renting an apartment. She didn't mind spending time, but she didn't want to spend money. She got married, lived with her husband for 6 months, and then moved back in with our parents. She raised her son while living with them. She had and still has a well-paying job. She traveled abroad multiple times a year, boasted about buying 7 pairs of boots in 1 year, while I wore the same pair for years. She lived lavishly, spending all her money on herself while receiving a generous child support payment for her son. Then, when she turned 39, she had a meltdown over not owning an apartment by the time she was 40 and claimed she'd never be able to afford one because she had no savings. Meanwhile, I, her sister, already had a place of my own by 40. Without informing me, our parents sold their summer house and car, essentially everything they had intended to leave as an inheritance, and bought an apartment for my sister. I didn't receive a single penny from the sale. Their reasoning? You already have an apartment, but Nastia doesn't, and she won't be able to buy one on her own. She has no money. Of course, she had never even considered saving, unlike us. To buy our home, we made countless sacrifices. In our youth, we survived on instant noodles, never traveled, never took vacations. And our parents gave us nothing, absolutely nothing. But the moment my sister threw a tantrum, they sold everything and bought her an apartment. My eldest daughter is getting married, and I had hoped my parents would split the money from the sale of their property equally between me and my sister. I planned to pass my share on to my daughter to help her buy a small apartment or at least a room in a dormitory. I don't want her to struggle like I did, moving from one rental to another, throwing money away on rent. But my parents didn't give me a dime. They gave everything to my sister, without even considering their granddaughter. I confronted my sister, saying this was unfair. After all, we are both their daughters, so the money should have been split. Her response? No, it's fair. At 40, you got an apartment, and now I have one too. Where the money came from doesn't matter. The important thing is that we both have a place to live now. I told her there is a difference. We saved for years, even went into debt, and spent 5 years paying it off. We made sacrifices. But she, despite earning the same as us, never saved a cent, spent everything on herself, and had an apartment handed to her by our parents. Our parents, yours and mine, just gave you $100,000 and I got nothing. That's not fair. She replied, No, it is fair. The source of the money doesn't matter. What matters is that we both have homes now. That's my story. It hurts to the point of tears. What should I do? Please advise. My response to the viewer: your feelings are completely valid, and your frustration is entirely understandable. You and your husband worked tirelessly for years, sacrificing pleasures and luxuries to achieve financial independence, while your sister was simply handed an apartment without any regard for your struggles or your family's needs. So, what can you do in this situation? 1. Accept that you can't change the past. Your parents made their decision to sell their property and give the money to your sister. Arguing or trying to achieve fairness at this point is likely futile. The decision has already been made. If they didn't consider dividing the money equally from the start, persuading them now to give you half is nearly impossible. 2. Express your feelings, but without expectations. You've already tried explaining to your sister why this is unfair, but she refuses to see the difference. If you choose to talk to your parents, avoid accusations. Instead, simply let them know that their decision hurt you deeply. They may not even fully realize how unjust their actions were. However, even if they acknowledge their mistake, it's unlikely they will change anything. 3. Shift your focus from resentment to the future. Your eldest daughter is getting married, and you wanted to help her. That's a noble goal. While your parents didn't provide financial support, your experience and wisdom will allow you to guide her so that she doesn't follow the same difficult path of renting and financial struggle. You can help by teaching her how to save money effectively, advising her on proper financial management, helping her choose the best housing option for her situation. 4. Process your emotions and set boundaries. Your emotions are completely normal, but it's crucial not to let them consume you. Ask yourself, do you want to continue close relationships with your family, or do you need some distance? If every interaction with your parents and sister brings you pain, consider reducing contact for a while. Your sister has already made it clear that she doesn't empathize with you and believes everything is fair. It might be best to accept that you have different perspectives on life and stop discussing this issue altogether. 5. Understand that life isn't always fair. Yes, your sister received help and you didn't. That's unfair. But you have something she doesn't. You proved that you can achieve things on your own. You are strong, independent, and self-sufficient. That's something to be proud of. And if one day your sister faces hardship, who will help her? Your parents won't be around forever, and she has never had to handle real difficulties on her own. Your family is built on hard work and perseverance, not on lucky handouts. Let this situation be a lesson, but don't let it poison your life. At the end of the day, it's far better to be someone who earned everything through their own efforts than someone who was handed everything on a silver platter and never learned to appreciate it. If the resentment feels too overwhelming, consider talking to a therapist to process your emotions and let go of this burden. Please write your advice to Marina in the comments.